Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so much for dropping by. Hi. Hey, forever loving everything. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is hey, Jisoo, is loving everything. So, what a beautiful life task, life purpose to love everything and serve. And so it sounds beautiful, and it is beautiful, but it's a little abstract. The question is how to do it. Well, our dear friend Bruno Groening gave us some very, what he called life wisdom that can help us on this path to becoming instruments of God, as Christ called it, being the light of the world, or as forever loving everything poetically, um, has just given us this beautiful phrase of loving everything. And I would, yeah. So let's start off with, first of all, separating ourselves from everything not good. Any burdens, any worries, handing them over to God, and to Bruno. Anything that we're afraid of, let's just hand it over and step into trust. When you're ready, please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands on your legs, palms facing upwards. And close your eyes and back, not slouched over, not too stiff, just a relaxed upright position. And then close your eyes and think of something that makes you joyful. Something that makes you happy. And if you want to, you can say a little prayer or a big prayer. And then begin to observe your body, having the will, the intention to take in good, healing, life energy. That's the practice, observing the body with that intention, with faith and trust. So we'll spend a little time doing that now. Noticing what you feel, intending to take in this good energy. Bruno Groening said you have to let the healing wave come to you. So there's this way in which we need to be open to it and allow it to come to us, and then we need to take it in. taking in the good, handing over what's not good, and then receiving health and wellness and vitality in its place. Certainly, handing over worry. Bruno said worry is the disease of all people. Hmm. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I'm very, I'm just so happy to be feeling connected to God and to be doing this with all of you. And if, it's a joy. It's a joy to know that what I'm doing is of service. Because what I've realized is that life is about giving. Bruno Groening said, "Although I have remained poor, I am the happiest man because I can help." Um, in this process of giving, that doesn't mean we neglect ourselves or we don't take care of ourselves. Bruno taught the exact opposite. He said, a person's first duty is to care for their body. And he said, um, not to paraphrase, but from a spiritual point of view, it's important that one be an egoist and free themselves from evil. And he also said, and here's where the two come together of service and self care. To serve oneself and one's body is to serve God. That's an amazing statement. To serve oneself and one's body is to serve God. Now, does that mean if I go out and get a massage and a pedicure and a fancy haircut that I'm serving God? Not that those things are bad, but I don't think that's exactly what Bruno Groening meant by to serve one's body. I'll back up a little bit in this quote. God himself hasn't left out anything for human beings. He has given us in our body everything we need in order to be able to absorb into our body what he provided for it. Man can see to it that he makes use of time and also the opportunity for himself and his body so that he has access to so much good power that he no longer need fear evil, so that he can calmly oppose evil with these energy reserves. This is the way man lives in divine order. Now it is the duty of every creature, for man above all, to oppose evil. So if I'm and then the next part, which I already read, to serve oneself and one's body is to serve God. He who is in service of God is not only supported by God through his power, but also protected. He will be able to defeat evil through the power of God. And that's from page 261 from Here's the Truth About Bruno Groening. So, Bruno said, God is my life. My fight, my battle, my war is with evil. And in essence, right here, he said that's the same for all of us. Now, my wars with evil, does that mean I'm going to go out and, hmm, let's say fight political corruption? Well, I can, and I don't think that's exactly what Bruno Groening meant. Though, of course, if you feel called to oppose a social injustice, please do it. And Bruno's talking about the cause of social injustice, the cause of all problems, evil. And then we start with ourselves, filling ourselves up with this good energy, separating from evil. That's the first step. Separating from evil, filling ourselves up, doing battle with evil, calmly opposing it as the negative thoughts come, um, as life happens, staying connected to God and continuing on this, what Bruno called this is the path of sanctification, this path of what we becoming more holy, becoming sanctified. So, let's see. So, thank you for asking, Blue. And actually, I don't take questions during community hour. Bruno Groening didn't. He adamantly opposed questions. It wouldn't take questions during community hour, and you're welcome to post it in the comment section afterwards. Thank you for respecting that. And so I'm just not gonna respond right now. So let's take a little time and reflect on the relationship between self-care, in this sense, self-care of freeing ourselves from all evil, fundamental self-care, and hence taking care of this body, that's a service to God, and that's our duty to take care of our body, to free ourselves from all evil, and then to help others do that. Bruno Groening said, this is the duty of every person, every creature, especially man. Aw, thank you, Carolyn. Let's see, I was going to try and do an Irish accent, but I won't. Top of the morning to you. Top of the evening to you. Um, so let's really take in this good energy and um, recognize that in doing so, we're doing our duty. And then being mindful of our thoughts, handing over any negative thoughts to Bruno Groening or God. Taking on faith. that this energy is limitless. Hmm. So I'm looking for a particular thing that Bruno said, and I'm not finding it, so I'll just have to go to memory. And he said, in essence, I'll have to just paraphrase. Oh, hey, Melanie. Hey, Germana. Bruno said, I'm just paraphrasing this. Really believe, dear friends, that I am nothing more than an instrument of God, which in fact you are too. You've only forgotten, and you can be it if you just do it. Just believe, dear friends, that I am. I thought I had it memorized. I don't quite have it memorized. But in essence, Bruno Groening said, we are instruments of God, just like Bruno Groening. We just don't fully believe yet. We've just forgotten what we are. So, how do we remember? What do we do? Well, my understanding is we take in this energy every day, at least once a day. And then Bruno called us to reflect, specifically at the end of the day, to reflect on the entire day. He said, let the entire day pass before your mind's eye, and to see the places where you didn't speak or act or think properly, and then firmly regret it, determined to do better. That's how we learn. That's how life becomes a place where we can learn and grow. And to have just absolute trust in the good. He said, trust in the good. Faith, trust in the good is the foundation of divine order, which I believe to mean divine order in our lives. But he also said, up till now, envy occurred not just among the Germans, but among all nations on the earth. This has to come to an end. But it will only end when everyone has found their way back to their faith. There will no longer be any hatefulness among them, among nations on earth. And world peace will be secured that way. So, according to Bruno Groening, you hear lots of people say, like, I'm in world peace, or I'm in favor of world peace, or I'm working towards world peace, and God bless them. And according to Bruno Groening, then what's necessary for that, to my understanding, is he said three things: back to faith in God, not faith in a doctrine, not faith in a particular religion, though he encouraged people. My understanding is that he encouraged people to go to their church and practice the teachings. So faith, trust in goodness in God. He said, back to the belief in the goodness of human beings. That God, the good, Ordnung, love, that divine essence lives inside of each one of us. And he said, back to nature. That's Bruno Groening's world peace plan. He called it the great turnaround or great reversal. As someone brilliantly said yesterday, the great U-turn, where they pointed out that just a 180-degree turn. And thank you for that. That was brilliant. It still makes me smile. So, what's our part? Living these principles, tuning in with faith, monitoring our thoughts like our life depends on it, reviewing our thoughts and actions, um, at least at the end of the day, if not throughout the day, striving to stay connected to God, having faith. Bruno said, the good, which is another expression for God, in Bruno's words, the good will prevail. That no matter how crazy things look all around us, because let's face it, there's a lot of, if you look around the world, there's some scary, intense, I don't want to say scary, but very intense, um, very intense things going on right now. Um, but to maintain faith in the good, even while being aware of all that, we don't have to ignore the stuff that's going on in the world, but we also don't need to fixate on it and um, worry about it. So let's spend a little time really reflecting. Um, yes, Bruno Groening said that you, as in each one of you, as in me, as in all of us, are instruments of God, just like Bruno Groening. I can't say, not that I'm not saying exactly the same. I don't know on this spiritual journey if each one of us will come to the point where we're able to do everything Bruno Groening did, but that we are. Well, Bruno Groening said, I give you the rules of the game of life so you can master life. So, so let's really take in some more good energy, reflecting on that the good will prevail. Reflecting on there's divine goodness inside of each one of us, that each one of us is an instrument of God, and the necessity to return to nature, to living in harmony with nature. So, how on earth can faith restore peace on earth? Well, first and foremost, according to Bruno Groening, God is the supreme physician. He's not just talking about physical illnesses, mental, emotional, life situations. The ultimate answer is with God. Second of all, if I have absolute faith, I'm not there yet, and there are moments if I have absolute faith, no matter what happens, I'll stay connected to God and I'll stay in trust. The worst things can happen to me. And Bruno Groening and Jesus were examples of this. They were able to hold on to their faith no matter what was going on. Whereas human beings have fallen into the habit when something bad happens, somehow that disproves God. We lose our connection to God. We get into fear. Bruno, what we read at the beginning, we fill ourselves up with divine energy so we can calmly oppose evil. Sometimes we have to vigorously oppose evil, but we don't have to lose our inner peace to do it. And if any of you are anything like me, you lose your inner peace many, many times a day. So I recognize that, and then I come back. And what I'm learning is if I'm ever in fear, it's because consciously or unconsciously, I've let go of or questioned my faith in God. Someone, this amazing, very, very spiritual friend of mine this morning said, I don't want to say spiritual, but person who's very devoted to God, very devoted. I like that better. She said, if you've got God, you can't have fear. Meaning, if you're firmly in faith, fear is not possible. And Bruno Groening said that himself. In essence, he said you could be on a boat in the middle of the ocean that's sinking. And if you know what you are and who created you, you can just calmly bail out the water without fear. So how do we become instruments of God? The lights of the world, the light of the world. How do we forever learn how to love everything? We've got to practice every day deepening our faith. So that, as Christ said, when the waves come, and they will come, welcome to life. As Bruno Groening said, welcome to the school of life. He called it the play school sometimes. The waves are going to come. And so, how are we going to meet them? Yes, there's so many wonderful self-help things like herbs and supplements and exercise and yoga and qigong and um, um, sweat lodges and acupuncture, and I enjoy all of those. And for me, those are not a solid enough foundation to withstand the challenges of life. They're all so supportive and so nourishing. But what I know that I need, and what Bruno and Christ called us to, is just utter reliance on God. Hmm. That's my understanding of the path we're on. To that we're on the path. That this path is the path of becoming a servant of God, meaning one who serves God, is devoted to God, and serves God, becoming an instrument of God. And we're on that path. And through this process, which Bruno called the path of sanctification, through the nighttime review and reviewing our thoughts, actions, and words through the days, we can become a more and more efficient. Bruno was a very efficient servant of God, right? He could do energy work on 30,000 people at once. He said that when his body slept, his spirit was off helping people. He would be giving it once he was giving a talk, and he said, and he started tapping his chair. And he said, while I'm talking to you, I'm also sending a warning to one of my friends in America that he's about to face danger. So he's giving a talk to a group of people, and he's also helping. He's in Germany, and he's helping someone over in America. And who knows? Um, who knows the limits of Bruno Groening's capacity to help? The only thing I ever heard him say he couldn't do was take away the regulation pains, that sometimes regulation is necessary. And he couldn't help those who he couldn't help someone who either didn't have the belief or was willing to take up the belief in the good. Though I assume he was available to help people come to that place. But I don't know that. Just something I assume. He said, I'm not a thief. I won't take illness. And we have to willingly hand it over. But other than that, I don't know if there's any limits to our dear friend's capacity to help, other than the limits we set. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Everyone who's watching this um, recording. Let's take a minute or two in silence. Welcome the peaceful quiet. Take in this good energy. Let's ask for the highest and best for beautiful Mother Earth, sacred Mother Earth, every living being on her. Thank you for joining in, Heather. I'm trusting in God's timing. There's no rules here. People are welcome to come and go as they please. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Much love to all of you, and much, much gratitude. Take care. Much love.